If you're a project manager, you know the feeling. That sinking sensation when a message you thought was crystal clear just gets lost. You said one thing, but your team heard something completely different. So how do we fix that? Well, in this explainer, we're going to build the ultimate communication playbook. We're turning those fuzzy principles into a real toolkit you can start using today.
Here's the game plan. First, we'll nail down the real communication challenge. Then we'll unpack 4 simple keys to making sure you're actually heard. After that, we'll get into the art of receiving messages. We'll tame that wild inbox, and finally, pull it all together so you can build your own communication playbook.
All right, let's dive into section 1, the communication challenge. Before we can find a solution, we got to agree on the problem. And honestly, the biggest problem is thinking that just because you said something, you've actually communicated. They are not the same thing.
This definition, it changes everything, right? Real communication isn't just about talking. It's about getting a result. The other person has to understand what you mean, and then they have to be able to do something with that information. If either one of those things fails, you haven't really communicated. You've just made some noise.
And this is why this stuff matters so much. Communication isn't some fluffy, soft skill. It is a core driver of performance. Seriously, the line between a project that succeeds and a project that fails often comes down to this simple fact. Better communication means better results. It is a direct link.
Okay, so if that's our goal, how do we get there? This brings us to a simple, proactive framework with 4 keys. This is how you stop just broadcasting messages out into the world and start making sure they actually land.
And here they are. It's a simple 4-step process. But notice the big shift here? It's all structured from the listener's perspective. You start with their reason to listen, you get to the point to respect their time, you use language they will connect with, and you frame it in a way that inspires them to act. You're moving from what I want to say to what they need to hear.
Now that third key, tailor your message, that's the one. It's where most communication really breaks down. It sounds easy enough, but what does it actually mean in the real world? Let's look at an example. So picture this. You've got a team that is just totally burned out. They're running on fumes. Management comes in and starts talking about sales projections and revenue goals. Now, those things are super important to the company, but all the exhausted team heard was, "Great, now you want us to do even more work." The message completely missed the mark.
So, the project manager made a crucial pivot, a really smart change. Instead of talking about what the company wanted, they reframed the entire conversation around what was in it for the team. A simple shift, but wow, was it powerful?
And here's the proof. The entire energy of the team just shifted. They actually perked up. They re-engaged with the work, and in the end, the project was a huge success. That's the power of tailoring your message. You connect your goals with their motivation.
So we've talked a lot about how to send a message. But great communication is not a monologue, right? It's a two-way street. So now we're going to flip the coin and talk about the other side of the equation, the art of actually receiving a message.
I know, it sounds so basic, but think about it. In our world of nonstop notifications and meetings, real listening has kind of become a lost art. It's not a passive thing you do while waiting for your turn to talk. It's an active skill, and it's just as important as crafting the perfect message.
And listening isn't just about hearing words. So much of what people are trying to tell you is unspoken. It's in their body language, their facial expressions, the tone of their voice. This is exactly why you can't have a difficult or really important conversation over email. You need the whole picture, and that usually means being face-to-face.
So how do you get better at this? 3 easy tactics. First, pay full attention, and I mean it. Put your phone away face down. Second, keep an open mind. If you walk into a conversation having already made up your mind, you're not listening, you're just reloading. And third, here's the real superpower. Paraphrase what you hear. Saying something like, "Okay, so what I'm hearing is," works miracles. It shows you're listening, and it clears up any confusion right away.
All right, let's tackle the one tool we all use and probably misuse every single day: email. It can be a total minefield, but if you follow a few simple rules, you can turn your inbox from a nightmare into a powerful tool for getting things done.
I absolutely love this analogy. Think about it. A newspaper article gives you the headline and the most critical information in the very first paragraph. Your emails should do the exact same thing. Don't bury the important stuff. Get it right up front. Think of this as your pre-flight checklist before you hit send. A couple of these are absolutely critical. First, your subject line has to mean something.
Make it a mini summary, like action needed, feedback for Project Alpha due Friday. And second, that last one, be so careful with humor. What sounds hilarious in your head can come across as confusing or even worse, offensive in an email. When in doubt, just leave it out.
Phew! We have covered a ton of ground, from sending messages to receiving them to taming email. Now, for the final piece. Let's bring it all home and talk about how you can build a system to put all of this into practice.
And really, this is the ultimate goal. To stop being reactive with communication and start being proactive. You don't want to just let communication happen to you. You need to be intentional. Use these ideas to build a clear set of guidelines, a playbook that everyone on your team understands and uses.
And as the final thought I want to leave you with, just take a second and really think about this. Based on everything we just went over, what are the 1 or 2 rules that would make the biggest, most immediate difference for your team? That right there is your starting point.